Are we ready? I'd like to call to order the Phillipsburg City Council meeting for November 5th, 2018. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we have any public comment tonight? Okay, let's look at the minutes for October 15th, 2018. And if they're to your liking, we need a motion to approve.
That's so moved for the minutes as written.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Look at appropriation ordinance number 1055-10-18B in your packet.
I've got a couple of questions, Tim. J&L Plumbing,
That was,
2,900.
that was to replace the heater at Glade that went bad last January. Down at Glade Reservoir.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
John Deere Financial.
That was to replace the master cylinder and the grader.
Okay. Other than that, the grader's still pretty good shape.
It is, it just, unfortunately, it's just
Sits
wear
around
from
and-
sitting outside.
Okay.
Did you say last January? We're just now getting billed?
No, it was back ordered and
Oh.
kind of got set and then they finally got time to put it in. It was
Okay.
getting cold.
Okay. Oh, yeah. We're approaching, with snow approaching.
Let's hope not.
The one question I had, I guess it, looking at it kind of stuck out to me, was the website hosting and support.
Yeah. So we had a meeting with them the other day. This is something that was approved before as far as an update that we will receive in 2020, I think it was, is when we get it, but we pay so much each year to be eligible for it, for a new release of it. And that's the contract we had signed before. And we talked to the guy about some changes and he gave us some, cause I know there's been a couple of council members that have shown they didn't like the way it's currently set up. So we're going to change some things as far as how the bars stay on the site and you can still scroll down and you can still get around on your menu items. So I think it'll be a lot better than what we have today. I think we're gonna have a meeting before Thanksgiving with
I think it's the 23rd.
23rd. So that's what that payment was for. It was due, I think, at the end of October. It was due. So
Well, I just got to paying attention to that, and I remember doing something on that, but it was like,
well, I put it off until we actually had the meeting. I didn't want to
Okay.
pay it till I felt like it was something we wanted to move forward with.
yeah, because, I mean, you know, it was like, what, $5,200 or $5,300 or some such thing?
7,200.
Well, I missed one then.
Yeah.
I missed one going through there, because they was scattered out in different accounts, so, okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve appropriation ordinance 1055-10-18B.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mr. James.
The only thing I'd like to have a short, executive session at the end of the council meeting.
Okay. Terry is out. Brett?
And I didn't have anything on the agenda, but just something to think about. It doesn't require a decision tonight, is our property insurance. We went out for bids last year, and if I remember correctly, one of the insurance agents said they would help us to get quotes more of Apple for Apple.
Yeah.
So I don't remember which one that was, though.
Would have been,
I don't remember. But anyway,
I think it's
I guess
Roger.
my question,
I think it's Roger Tracy.
was it? Okay.
Yeah.
My question to the council is, do you think we need to go for bids this year, or do you wanna wait till next year? You wanna go on a 2-year stint, or do you want to see if we can get someone to help us where our quotes are more comparable? I mean, as far as what we're getting for our money?
I think that'd be a good idea, Brett, because last time it come down, if I remember, because didn't we get some kind of, for better term, rebate or something
Yeah,
at
we
the
do.
end of the year, and
Yeah.
nobody seemed to know what.
You don't know what
number
it's
that
gonna be
was.
until it's about too late.
Have we received that yet this year?
Yeah, we got one back. It was eight something, if I
I can't
remember
remember what
correctly.
it was. I have to go
What,
look.
8,000 or?
Yeah,
Okay. But cause if, what I remember last year was when we did that, we really didn't have the numbers from the past to know approximately how much we was getting before. So I think it'd be good to do.
that's fine.
Okay.
It says that this policy ends on 2/27 of 2019. So we probably ought to get started
Soon.
soon.
December, I guess.
Yeah.
No later.
Well, no later than December.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, do we have consensus amongst the council members?
Yep.
Anybody opposed? So, consensus to get bids for property insurance.
You might note that I will try and get hold of Mrs. Beach and see if she'll help us with,
Yeah, we got them from,
we got.
I think we
from
got
one-
3 or 4
one-
last year.
I can't remember.
We can find it in the
Okay.
file.
Because
I think it was Heritage.
Heritage, I was wanting to say Harvard.
Yeah, it
Yes,
was.
yes,
It was. It's
yes.
Heritage?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Was one of them.
at least all the locals give me a
Heritage,
shot
Brad,
at it.
and Tracy.
Heritage was real close with what I remember.
Yeah.
I think they were, Mike, but if you'll find that information for me, Tiffany, and then I'll visit with her about helping us get some sort of system set up that,
It's apples and apples.
yeah,
Okay. Anything else, Brett?
that's it.
Okay. Pete?
No, sir.
Lynette's out tonight. Michael?
No.
Nothing? Okay. Mr. Sage?
Yes, Mayor and Council, in your packet is a proposed charter ordinance, that being namely Charter Ordinance number 14, removing the city clerk office from the provisions of Kansas Statutes annotated 14-1501, namely that the city clerk will no longer be by appointment, not have prerequisites which are contained within that statute, will not have a term of office, and will not apply for vacancy in that office pursuant to the terms of that statute. And so I'd ask that you review that, and that if it meets with your approval, it will require a vote of not less than 2/3 of the elected members.
We have 2/3 here tonight, so
And I didn't catch it before, but my name does need to be spelled correctly, if you would.
it's got an I instead of a Y. Also,
I-N-I,
TIFF.
I-N-I. Thank you.
Lynette,
I have a question on that before we go on with this discussion. Help me to remember, any hiring or firing of a city employee has to be done by the majority vote of the council?
I don't believe so. I believe that the mayor has the authorization to hire and fire, but we also have the authorization to undo whatever he does.
Right, so my question is that in the personnel policy? Is that a state statute? Is that,
I remember reading something in the policy about it, but I can't word for word.
and I'm not
I-
saying I agree with it either way, I'm just wanting to clarify.
I would hope that the council would have to approve any
That's where I'm leaning
hiring
toward
of
too, but
either position that reports to me, whether it be this position or the city clerk position. I would think that would need council approval. The appointment needed council approval, so the hiring should.
So I guess my question is, okay, when we decide what we wanna do, what do we do to make sure that's,
Is that a resolution that we need, or is that a
I think you better review your policy.
policy, just a
first
policy
to see
change
what it-
probably?
Should
Okay.
we hold off on this until we?
Yeah, I
review the
would.
Policy and,
I think we should, cause I would like for that to be clear for all the council and for everybody else as far as that goes.
I would agree,
You mean as far as holding off on publishing this?
yeah, approving it.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I think if we do it approve it or not by next meeting, I think it'll be soon enough, won't it?
Well, I would say.
Should be.
Yeah.
Scott, on last sentence of the first paragraph, we're missing a 1. Should be 14-1501.
I reviewed it and I missed it.
And also in the section 1, you dropped it too, when you went to the next line. Unless that's a different. I think you're referring to 1501 on both of those.
Well, if you do that, yeah, okay, never mind, you said the first paragraph.
So we won't take any action on this tonight. We will check the policy and see what it is, and then probably make a determination on the policy as well, on what you want to do there.
Yeah,
Well, that might be better too, because we have full council, or
Yeah.
hopefully we have full council.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
That's all I had for the council this evening.
Excuse me. Okay, in your packet, you got the, we had Tiffany requested a couple of weeks in her new position to kind of determine what was needed to make sure we run smoothly in the office here. And she's requesting a utility billing clerk be hired, and that's in your packet as far as the job description. And
that hasn't changed, has it, Lance?
she made a couple of, I told her to update it now. I mean, most of our job descriptions, which I think we need to update all of them, they hadn't been looked at since 1999. And they definitely have changed somewhat since then. Anyway,
What changes? were
what
made?
changes did you make, do you know?
Oh, nothing major, like the experiences, I left the same, like diploma or GED and 1 year of job experience. Some of the wording I added, like the interpersonal skills, I kind of added a few that reflected some of our values we've been talking about for vision. Some of the technical skills, I added computer software such as Microsoft Word and Excel. On the first page, I added utilizing spreadsheets and changed some wording on, just to make it more clear on some of the items. I added that before it said that we needed a pre-employment drug screening, but I also added that the physical is required and a valid driver's license is required in order to drive.
We didn't have that before, did we? The KDOT?
We required it, but it wasn't on the list.
Right, so we had to change that. We do require it since they do drive the van.
And I added that must be available to travel out of town, because we go to trainings once in a while, and that was not on there.
That was one thing I was gonna, I'm glad you said that, because that was one thing I was gonna say. Do you need to stipulate possible overnight stay?
I wondered if I should add that wording or not. That's
Well,
why I
that-
just put out of town, but.
Well,
we
but
could-
out of town, you can be out of town for the day, but if you
Right.
know that you're possibly have to be overnight, that,
Yeah.
I
could
think
be.
that really should be added. I looked at that before and I was gonna mention it, and then I spaced it until you said that, yeah.
That probably is a good idea, because it would affect different people in their
Sure would.
situation.
Sure would.
I think adding the overnight, and then also, I think we need to add the values, that they understand the values and we live by the values that have been approved by the council. And specifically mention not certain ones, but all the, make sure the list of values is there, attached to the back of the job description.
What is the starting pay range and stuff for that? Tiffany, do you
I
know?
can get up and look if you'd like.
Would you please?
You got a job?
I just need a different job. No, I'm just kidding. I was just curious, I didn't know whether they started like down at the start of the pay scale.
It's on the old one.
Ah,
That's on the back page there.
okay, then they start right at,
What are they at?
they
That's
start
on
at
here.
14A?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, which is $13.25 an hour.
okay. I'm just curious, I didn't know whether they started on that step or the next step.
Okay. With those changes, does she have council's approval to go ahead and post that?
I'll make a motion that with the changes made to the description, job description, that we allow Tiffany to post for that position.
Okay, do I have a second?
Yes.
Got a second from Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The EDAB requirements, I just wanted to point out one thing. You know, Economic Development Advisory Board is what that stands for, and we've been talking about this Community Development Director position. We did go to, on the Sports Complex Committee, we went to the PCED finding out how to raise money, and they do have a group out there that will raise funds. They charge 9%. So if you're looking at a $5 to $7 million project, and they get 9% of that, you're anywhere between $450,000 and $630,000. So you can pay a lot of years of a community development director for those kinds of funds. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm not asking for anything now, but I want you to keep that in mind. I wanted to educate you a little bit that we have went out and looked for other ways to do fundraising. Plus, they don't help you with the communications with that, which I would
Right.
place upon this person as well.
Right.
The other item is the internship program. That form was due last week. I did get it turned in. I didn't go for two, only went for one, and the reason being, all the work that I'm gonna have them do is inside of the city park area. I'm not gonna do the whole walking trail right now, so I'm doing the walking trail just what Jillian Bull's working on and that team, and they're focused in on that. So this is basically a redesign of the city park area with the ballpark gone, amphitheater in, splash park. We got room for a dog park. Just I had to draw that out as well as draw the walking trail around it and redesign it. And then the city council will approve that drawing as far as when we get it done. So all we have to come up with, we're supposed to know by Wednesday of whether we're successful in getting an intern.
Okay.
But Nadine got back and said that we should know something.
And
about
remind me, we just have to furnish.
We have to
housing.
have housing and a place for them to work,
Right.
which we have plenty of that, and we have office supplies for them. I think they'll probably have that. We have a computer in there, but surely they'll have their own computer, I would think, and own software. I think they probably are used to using from school. But okay. Any questions on that? Do you want me to send out anything as far as if we were successful, or do you just want to wait till next meeting? Will that be all right? Okay. Now, on the investment program, I want to make sure that in our city code book, there's a couple of things that I want to make sure we're following, and one of them is to make sure, I've got to pull it out here, that we are actually reporting on a periodic basis to the city council about what our investments are in. So this is a report that we've requested every week, okay? Listing our CDs, and what the rate we're getting on them. Now, we put in place since for like at least 17 months that we did not manage this, and it says right in our code book that we will manage this thing aggressively to maximize our interest rate, okay? And we failed to do so up until this point. Now we're actively doing that. We put in place controls where the finance chair, myself, have to sign the renewal. When we get this report, we make sure that this renewal has taken place, because we found one a couple weeks ago that didn't get made. It was caught. We got it. So this control's been put in place. So Tiffany's now checking to make sure that this report matches with what we approved.
Right. And we also get the sheet that shows what the interest rate should be.
We get the PMIB
Right.
rate on a 90-day.
Yeah.
So, and then First National Bank is giving us 20 basis points over that.
Correct.
Get caught up.
Right.
So anyway, I want to make sure you're aware of that. This is that periodic reporting. I want to make sure this is in our packet every meeting. You should have the current one, so you know where, and the citizens should know where our money's at too, and how much we're getting for it as well. Okay. That's all I had. So, Tim.
Okay, just give you an update on a few things. Wanted to update you on the water conference that I'll be attending next week. Originally I told you they would pay for my registration, and we had to pay for the travel and lodging. They have picked up my lodging as well, so all the costs of the city will be our travels there and back.
Was it at Manhattan?
Yes. So, other training, half of the crew is gone today and tomorrow for civilian supervisor training down at Stockton. The other half will go next week on Thursday and Friday of next week. Project-wise, we've got one project complete on 7th Street. It's got a couple of dress-up items that need to be addressed once it's dried out a little bit. The other one is a little bit behind due to some mechanical problems. I hope to have the repair kit in tomorrow to be able to get that back in line. As soon as that one's done, we will go ahead and move forward on the Park Street project. Crews have been patching. I also went through last week and mowed all of the facilities to make sure that they were, some of them were looking a little, they weren't bad, but they just weren't where they needed to be. We also went through and mowed the cemetery got all the peonies and stuff cut so they look good through the winter. We also spent some time working on some alleys that had caused some concern. One of them was Cable Road as well as the Loves Alley. Citywide, forgot to get that recap to you. I'll have that recap sent out to you in the morning showing the amount of solid waste that was picked up. Citywide cleanup cost approximately $4,700 this year for the city for fall cleanup.
How did the business side go since we added that new? Did you have any issues?
I didn't notice any issues. I only actually seen, I think, 2 businesses participate,
Okay.
so we really didn't see any pro or con to it.
How'd you compare to the last cleanup?
I'll have that comparison for you, and I'll have them sent out
Okay,
to you.
I
for
didn't know
some
what
more.
you knew. Okay.
In your packet is the capital improvement plan. This plan is set in place to go over what our discussions with each committee has been over the last 10 months. These projects are put together and based off of the funding recommendations by the committees. As we have stated in previous meetings, that this is a working document. This is something that's going to be changed every year. It'll be updated every year, and we'll continue to bring new projects and new things to the table for consideration. I feel this document's in pretty good shape right now, and I'd like for you guys to review it, and if it so meets with your approval, I'd love to see a vote on it. This has been through every committee.
So on November 14th, we're having a town hall, and I would like for him to present at least the 2019 plan so people understand what their 0.5% sales tax plus the other funds that we have are going towards. Even though it's a 5-year plan, I wanted to focus on next year.
What time was that town hall?
I think 6 or 7. It's either 6 or 7. But we'll get a thing out. I would like everybody to be there. You're out?
Yeah, I'm gonna be out of town for
Okay.
the rest of that week, Wednesday through Saturday.
Okay. Wednesday, November 14th.
Yeah.
So basically, we'll give it kind of accomplishments for the year, and then capital improvement plan, then go over the Economic Development Advisory Board vision, the stuff that they came up with, as well as I presented to Rotary as well as the 7th grade class, and they've come up with some ideas as well.
Cool.
So I'm going to include some of those in there as far as what they want to see in the city by the year 2030. So we'll be sharing that vision as well. And it will be streamed.
I'll make a motion that we approve the capital improvement plan, providing that the financing is there.
True.
And one thing I'll point on this document does not give authorization to spend. That's
Right,
on
I understand
budget,
that,
so-
but just to make it clear, just because it's on here, if we don't have the money for it, we won't.
Yeah, I think he addresses some
Yeah.
of that in here. That it's a living
Right.
document that's subject to change based on priorities and unforeseen requirements
That's
as
more
well.
for the,
Right. So I got a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Last week, we planted a tree for Arbor Day. We did put that communication out on our website. We set the corner of 5th and Fisher Drive, South 5th and Fisher Drive. It was a bur oak tree that we had previously planted behind the armory. We still have one tree left in stock there, and then we will be out of trees. So we'll have to start looking for some additional tree stock. Next item I got for you is fuel contracts. I met with Prairie Horizon last week and discussed the possibility of whether they would be interested in putting a contract together for us to purchase ethanol to put in some of our vehicles. So we talked with them on what the requirements would be and how those system would be set up. I'd like to be able to take that same discussion over to Trinity, see what they have for the same requirements so that I can bring back to the finance committee apples to apples and say, okay, this is what we're looking at. Does anybody have objections to those conversations?
We just can't get too strong on the ethanol because of the type of vehicles we got.
That's one of the conversations we had, and even at the reduced blend, there was still a significant savings that they could offer to us. So what I'll provide to the finance committee is the amount of gallons that we purchased last year, what kind of savings it would be if we went with this group versus the other group, and kind of look at it from there. Next item I have is I would like to ask the council's permission to utilize T-bone, Theron burning, isolated cases where the water plant is short. We have an employee that's going to be having surgery shortly, and he will be gone for almost 6 weeks. This would be very isolated, maybe one day here, one day there to kind of help. I have reached out to him, and he has said he would be interested if the council was to allow it. Do you have objections to that?
Go for it as far as I'm concerned.
Do you have consensus?
Thank you. I wanted to bring you up to date on the Aquatic Center. So after our last meeting, we had been provided some information that will allow a company by the name of Johnson Controls to come in and put a fiberglass lining inside that pipe. It does not require us to dig. The bid for that was $4,200. And when I looked at their bid to see how it would fare against what would have cost for us to dig it up, we could dig it up cheaper. However, one of the things you have to look at is the liability. So you're going to dig right down next to that wall of the pump house. The other side of that wall is about a 8,000 gallon tank that if you hit that wall or you crack that wall, or pressure, or the hydraulic pressure is to crack that, I'm not sure we'd ever get it sealed back up. We also have to dig right next to the footings of the diving board. Part of that was concerned whether if we got too close to those footings and they were to shift at all, whether it would cause liability problems for us in the future. In reality, you're looking at about $1,600 to $1,700 difference between what it costs for us to dig it up and repair it, or what they can do to line it and repair it.
So that liner is guaranteed?
It has got a 10-year guarantee on it.
Thank you, I was gonna ask that.
And I
It
guess
is something that I think that, when we met with them, they come down and visited with us. We went out and looked at the leak itself, and they provided us a small video showing how this product works. And I think it's got a very good results that we can get with it. And I think it's well worth the not having to dig all that up and have the risk come with us. That hole is going to be that we have to dig there is going to be approximately 11 foot deep, and it's going to only be about 10 foot wide, because that's where you've got the wall to your pump house and the diving board set right there, because it's directly in between them. So this would alleviate some of that risk to the city. They can be here in approximately a week and a half to begin that work. It takes them 1 day. They're in and out. And then they will go back through and camera it and test it again to verify the leak has been correct.
So they will pressure it up.
So
Sounds good to me.
if there's no objections, I'd like to go ahead and get them
And that's the
here.
only spot you found?
Mhm. The rest of them, I believe, are tight. I don't believe we're going to have a problem. So, is there any objections?
We don't need any personnel on hand there.
Nope.
Okay. So it allows them to do something else.
Yes, it does
Which
free those
we have a
guys.
need for them to be doing something else.
Correct. The only other thing I have is planning commission. We will not have a meeting this month, but we will encourage them to attend the town hall meeting. Oh, I do have one other item.
Okay.
The airport van broke down a week ago. This vehicle is,
It's not still under warning?
Was it out in the country hunting, or?
this time it was in town when it
Oh,
did break
okay.
down. It is my understanding that we had a doctor in town, and he left the airport and it made it to Zion Lutheran before it met its demise.
What was the estimate to get it fixed?
They feel it's probably gonna be about $300-400. They feel it's in the ignition switch, cause it just sets and turns. And, I don't know whether you feel that that's a wise investment in that vehicle.
How old is that vehicle?
I'm gonna guess it's early 80s. It has seen some rough days. My understanding is it has been hunting.
Yeah, that's the reason I brought that up.
So, I don't know if you'd like us to fix it, or would you like us to research a cheaper used vehicle that would be better suited for the
Personal
airport?
opinion, I think we need to research a cheaper used vehicle and replace it. It's a piece of shit, and it makes for a good, when somebody comes in that way, it doesn't look the nicest.
I would like to see what we have available fund-wise
Yeah,
before we do a search. I'm gonna make sure we have appropriate funds available,
Yeah,
and then do a range of what we can go out and
yeah.
search for.
My assumption that will come out of general fund.
Either that, or can it come out of equipment
Should
reserve?
be able to come out of equipment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know why it couldn't.
I think it could,
Yeah, I would say it could, yeah.
so we can look at that too.
Okay.
And that is all I have for you, unless you have questions for me.
Okay. And what do we got on here? Tiffany, are you on here? Okay, are you the last? Yes.
I got a call from Prairie Land Electric that said, they had replaced our electric meter at the water treatment plant in May of 2012. And at that time, the billing, they didn't update that correctly, so they've been overcharging us since then. So today we received a refund check for $44,410.41.
Right there. It's Alexis. We're behind Alexis.
I don't think we need that.
Well, let that hit the street.
That's all I have.
That's
Okay.
good.
We got reports in there as far as municipal court report. Any questions on it? That's just basically saying a caseload. Do you print this off?
Yes, I printed it off.
I think what'd be interesting is next time we do one of these, do a year-to-date, last year to this year, and see what kind of, how we compare.
This month to last year's month.
I'd do a year-to-date.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, year-to-date on October 31st, what are as far as what kind of tickets are writing out there.
Okay.
Any other items? Oh, yes. Mike? Should be the,
Top one, isn't it?
Is it the top one?
Yeah.
Well, that's individual employees' performance.
It must be a different.
non-elect personnel.
Yeah.
What's that?
Is there a non-elect, it might go under that one too.
Yeah, it just says personnel matters, so
Yeah,
I guess that'd be it.
yeah.
I move the city council recess into executive session for the discussion of individual employees' performance pursuant to non-elected personnel matters exception KSA 75-4319B1 with the mayor, council, and the attorney in attendance, and the open meeting to resume in the city council chambers at 10 minutes, be plenty.
10 till? Yeah. So it'd
Yeah, 10 till.
be 6:50.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
You normally let Brett do these?